Hello, everyone. This is the Easy Allies podcast. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us this week, Michael Damiani.
How's it going?
Very well, thank you. Ian Hink.
How's it going?
Very well, thank you. And Brandon Jones.
Fine, thank you.
Okay, great. Let's play And For That Reason. This week's pitch comes from Alex McMillan. Good evening, Easy Allies. I'm presenting a basketball game where your players start the match as toddlers and then age at an accelerated rate, meaning that they will be middle-aged by halftime and an octogenarian at the end of the game. You must utilize each athlete's unique attributes through the various stages of their lives. The game is called Time Flies When You're Dunking Hoops. So, who's in? Damiani.
Oh, God.
And I get to ask a question?
You may ask one question.
Let me ask one question. So my question is, if they foul out too early, do fouls stay consistent across the game? And what happens if they foul out? Do they age while they're fouled out? Or they get injured and they have to come back? Do they they have to go back to the training room to get some tape, something like that, but they can come back in the fourth quarter. So they injured in the first. Here's my question.
Yes.
You get injured in the first quarter.
Yes.
You're coming back in the fourth. Have they aged? Or do they still say as a toddler?
You will age normally.
Okay.
If you foul out, you age to death. Right there.
Okay.
Whoa.
I'm more concerned about the injury. Like if you injure yourself in the first quarter,
Yeah,
but come
we
back
still
by the
have
fourth,
doctors on hand.
But you'll be old. You'll be in your 80s, as
Yes.
they said. Okay.
Yeah.
My question is...
Wait, I need to know if Damiani's in or out yet.
Oh, I thought we did questions first.
No,
Yeah, I
that's
thought
it.
we did
Yeah.
questions first. Yeah, I'm in.
No, Damiani.
And for that?
The segment is called And For That Reason.
And the reason is
No. You need to set up And For That Reason. You need to give us some analysis.
You have to be like, I like the blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
yeah,
I
exactly.
don't like the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And for that reason...
Yes. That is the pace I need from you, Damiani. Here, we'll just have Ian do it, and then we'll come back to you.
Okay, my question is, Kyle...
Yeah.
So, we're aging. We have the age cycle here
Yes.
on display. My question is, let's say I have a player. Let's call him Brandon Jones.
Yes.
Brandon Jones, toddler, comes into the game, ages up through the entire game, and I imagine shortly after their team wins or loses, dies.
Yes.
Is this like XCOM? Is this a roguelike? Is this persistent Iron Man mode? Is that player dead forever?
That player is dead forever. They're all clones.
Ah.
So you have a clone of Brandon Jones, and this
Sure.
explains why they age so quickly.
Okay. And that's part of the story, I imagine.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
I tell you what, I was out at the word basketball, and then I was hard in after that. I'm really loving the sci-fi kind of nature of this. Also, I love the gameplay implications of a toddler with a basketball the size of its own head, aging into a capable basketball player, and then aging back out of capability, and then dying.
It's a real tiny window.
It's beautiful, yeah. This is a beautiful game. I think that it transcends the typical sports game and gets into art territory. I'm hoping that the controls are more NBA Jam and less realistic simulation.
Sure.
That's my hope. But I think this is a high concept. I think it's a great idea. And for that reason, I'm in.
Great. Do you get it, Damiani?
I
I mean, that was a lot of analysis. You don't have to go that far.
Hey, I legitimately think this is a great idea.
All I could think of was another question. That's
No
all.
more questions.
I
You get
know.
one question.
I'm sad now.
Assume that the
Phrase
answer...
your question
Yes.
in your...
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I was I'm gonna be funny, Kyle.
Okay. Yeah, please.
I was hard out.
that
By all
remains
means.
to be seen.
I was hard out when you started talking about this. Period. But
You can't start a sentence with but.
that's not starting a
Put a
sentence.
comma. You said I was hard out, but,
Comma.
but.
Comma, but. Not but, comma.
Comma butt.
Sorry, Kyle.
You said period.
You said period.
No, never mind.
It wasn't
I
a
got him.
period. It was just the word period.
Kyle, can't
And then
take
there was a comma.
I'm a funny guy.
Okay.
Kyle, laugh. I did it.
Damiani, go.
All right. So yeah, okay. I was in the whole time because this concept is amazing.
Genius.
This is a great game.
Please make
Great. Yeah, this will be made in the next 5 years. Some developer will put this type of game out. So you should hurry up and patent this or something, get it protected before it gets stolen. I liked the whole explanation answer Kyle gave me about the injury thing, but the thing I'm still kind of the thing I was a little suspect on is if I'm assuming the answer is that you still age if you're on the sideline, but it would be amazing if you weren't in the game. You only aged when you were on the court. So in the fourth quarter, you could substitute in a toddler to go against all those 80-year-olds and be like,
That's not right. That
would be amazing. No, that would be
the game balance wouldn't be right.
That would be, what are you talking about? The game balance wouldn't be right.
Because I didn't explain this to you. The hoops raise and lower as well. So when it's toddlers playing, the hoops are low.
You're saying like we can have some fantasy elements as well, so like a baby can't
I don't like
jam.
the hoops raising.
Yeah, Kyle. What are you
I
doing?
like them being regulation hoops the whole damn time.
I'm sorry, that's how the game works.
Well, we'll give some notes. You know,
It's his
we're
podcast.
investing.
Oh yeah, I'm still in.
Okay, Brandon Jones.
Damn it!
I
No,
know.
no. And for that reason,
And for that reason, I'm in.
Brandon
sure,
Jones.
we'll take it.
When you die, are you buried close visibly to the court?
Yes.
You are incinerated close to the court.
Oh, okay.
The winning team and losing team go into separate incinerators. and,
Okay.
you're
You're not placed in an urn or some kind of receptacle.
You're just clones, and you're looked at as clones.
Got it. You've evaporated
A new clone is born.
back into the ether. Okay.
Yeah.
I think this premise is a 9 out of 10. The title is a 10 out of 10. For that reason, I'm in.
Wow, 3 ins.
The title is the weakest part to me, actually.
Well, it's
Time flies when you're dunking hoops. That's a good title.
I guess it's good.
Fast break.
I have to say, we had so many submissions for this. It was really hard to pick one.
Ooh.
Make a folder. Keep these.
Well, that's the thing is I kind of want to like stop submissions and go through all the ones that we already got, but I realize that disincentivizes the thing that we have going on, which is our
keep the
Patreon
thing.
posts.
Just make a document of like all the ideas, and then we'll get rich.
No. I made it clear. The segment is don't pitch us an actual video game.
Please make that game.
We just
make
talked
that
about
game.
an actual
Yes.
video game.
That is a beautiful,
late,
genius
Kyle.
video
But
game.
like, don't pitch us your sweet idea that you actually intend to make
Also,
someday, because it's just out there.
with
you know,
the
it's gone.
clones thing,
Yeah.
they can go into the incinerator. I picture this.
Yeah.
The end of the thing, go into the incinerator. They get burned up. Their DNA is like funneled down into a thing, and then it's like play again. And if you say yes, that genetic material, the toddlers just come out on a conveyor belt on the other side of that machine.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I
So
like
the
that.
dead thing becomes the toddler. So it's a cycle.
Yeah.
The cycle of hoops, baby.
Yeah. I love that.
And they're all like trapped there for an eternity.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is amazing. Please make this game.
Do it Altered Carbon style.
Moving on to corrections. Rufus missed one. Begin corrections music, please. Thank you, Jones. Rufus missed one episode. So this is actually Rufus's 100th episode.
When did he miss
Then
one?
we died.
We had to sing. Yeah, the battery was dead, and so we had to actually sing the intro. Yeah, congratulations, Rufus. We mentioned EA properties that need a remaster.
EA?
Totally forgot about Skate, which totally does, and that was repeated many times in the comments. We hear you. Jones, that cool Call of Duty oil rig level we were talking about is from Black Ops 3, the one with Hendrix in the frozen forest.
Troy Baker was not in that level? I thought that was Troy Baker running around, but I guess not.
Yeah, it wasn't.
They all
That
sound
wasn't
like
that
Troy
guy.
Baker these
No.
days, you know?
Oh, the Troy Baker one had the weird canyon shootout that you didn't have to think while you were playing it, basically. That's right. But it was also in the desert, and you were in a similar jet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why.
I remember very little from that, to be honest. The training.
You know what? It's not the first time on this podcast that I've gotten those two games confused, which is a travesty because Black Ops 3 is much better than Advanced Warfare. So
Yeah, brutal.
makes me sad.
Take that, Advanced Warfare.
I know we were talking about Sledgehammer last week. All right.
Wait, the Peter
Advanced Warfare
Gabriel
is not a
song?
bad Call of Duty. It's just Black Ops 3 is better.
Yeah. Sorry?
The Peter Gabriel song?
No.
Sledgehammer.
No. Another reason that Dragon
Some
Ball
rules.
Fighters online drop-off could have
video.
happened is that it has a lot of online issues, a lot of connection issues. We should have brought that up. So yeah, if they're dropping 80% and people are having a bad time online, that's probably a key factor. The PC version of Deadly Premonition is apparently not that good, Jones.
Okay.
The official recommendation of the Easy Eyes community is the Xbox 360 version.
Got it.
Cool.
I want to play that game.
I do too.
I've never actually played it.
Uh,
There's
the-
a board game of it out.
Don't do that, though.
Should play the video
Probably
game
play
first.
the
Probably
game first, yeah.
The DeLorean S car in Burnout Paradise was one of the legendary cars, so you had to pay money for it. That was not a free DLC item. End corrections music, please. Now,
I was hoping for more.
I'm actually not done correcting,
Oh, good.
Whoa.
but this next thing is so huge. It's like basically a new segment. It would be annoying to run the corrections music over all of it, but I think it's all insanely interesting. And so I think the segment's called Wikipedia Rabbit Hole. We had one last week. We definitely had one when I was talking about Sledgehammer last week. And so- yeah, we got one again. We got this week. So I think that maybe this will be recurring. I don't know, but I want to talk about Pandemic. Because the correction was
that they're mercenaries.
Yeah. And EA owned them for a little while.
Yeah.
And so I was like, EA owned Pandemic. Let me dig into this.
Oh,
Yeah, what have they made?
They made Mercenaries, Battlefront,
yeah.
The first 2 Battlefront games. And we'll get into this. Destroy All Humans, I think, is the 3 games he was known for. Yeah.
Ooh, good dev.
Yeah, exactly. So in 2005, Pandemic and BioWare were merged at one point, but remained kind of separate and autonomous on their own. And I said that's kind of like what happened with THQ and THQ Nordic, and Deep Silver a couple of weeks ago. They're also like they've merged as well, but now they're 2 separate developer studios still. Anyway, at that time, 2005. The holding company was called BioWare Pandemic Studios. So the 2 companies are basically owned together in this holding company. So I was reading about this on the Eurogamer article from 2005. The deal was crafted by Elevation Partners, the private equity firm headed up by former EA president John Riccitiello. And I said, wait a second, former? When was he not EA? So here's what's really cool. So from 1997 to 2004, EA's heyday, making money, making cash. John Riccitiello was president of EA. Did a great job, made a lot of money for the company. But then in 2004, he left to co-found this private equity capital fund called Elevation Partners. That's his company that he's co-founded. Which made the deal for Pandemic and BioWare was a $400 million investment to buy and combine Pandemic and BioWare, and that was a big deal, right? So, in February of 2007, 3 years later, EA's profits are down, and they say, John, we need you back. Come back and be CEO. He says, okay. So, so in February 2007, John Riccitiello ended his hiatus away from EA and is CEO now. In October of 2007, he says, hey, you know who we should buy? So EA buys a VG Holding Corp, which is weird. It's still the one that was BioWare Pandemic Studios. VG Holding Corp only owns BioWare and Pandemic. I don't know when they changed that name. I could not figure that out. Anyway, they buy the holding company that is just BioWare and Pandemic from Elevation Partners. So this is a huge deal from EA. He's like, hey, why don't we just buy that thing that I just bought a few years ago? They did it. And so this
How
is...
long after he became the CEO did they buy it?
It
was like
February.
a couple of months?
He joined in February. In October, they announced they're buying that. So at that time, it was EA's biggest deal. It was $620 million in cash, $155 million in EA stock to the employees, and John Riccitiello personally makes a cool $5 million.
Yeah, I wonder if Riccitiello brought that up at every meeting.
I know.
And it took until October when they're finally like, all right, just shut up, John.
fine,
Just do
Riccitiello.
it. Fine.
I just love that. I have a great property. It's just like making money on money on money. Anyway, so Pandemic is acquired officially by EA January of 2008. So it took from October to January for them to finally get acquired. And then in November of 2009, officially closed Pandemic.
Just wait, a year later?
Yeah, but like at the end of that, from the beginning of 2008 to the end of 2009. So it's almost 2 years. Over that time, they released Mercenaries 2 in August of 2008. The Lord of the Rings Conquest in January 2009.
Whoa.
That's it's like Battlefield, but Lord of the Rings.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I reviewed it for Game Trailers.
Get up in that mic and tell me what that game is like.
Not fun.
Wait, it's not fun?
I didn't have a good time with it.
Battlefield is Lord of the Rings. That sounds like an instant hit.
If it's the same one I'm remembering.
Is that for first person?
No.
Oh, it's third person.
Third person, because the old Battlefield games were
But
third person.
okay.
There were like these weird I was
that's
fighting in like Mordor at one point, and there were these weird.
Well, of course you're fighting in Mordor.
There were like these weird essentially
It took
like
him like
enemy
3 bucks
spawn.
to get to Mordor.
Yeah. There were
Not
like
a
these
sure
weird
thing.
enemy spawns, like the towers you had to destroy to stop the enemies from spawning. You had a weird range of powers. I didn't have a really good time with it. I was like, is this really what I want out of a Lord of the Rings game? And no, not
Wasn't
really.
quite it.
Not really into it.
Not until many years later. Anyway, and then they did another game, The Saboteur, December of 2009, which is after they were shut down. So basically, in November, they said, like, you know what? It's not working out, Pandemic. And then, like, in December, they finally released that game. I found a Kotaku article at that time, which is super interesting, talking about how and why Pandemic was closed. This is so funny. All right, so this is from Nick Earl, the EA Games label senior vice president. At that moment, said, "I want to make it clear that the Pandemic brand and franchises will live on. Like, don't worry, the brand and franchise. In the months ahead, we will announce plans for new games based on Pandemic franchises." He then went on to say, why Pandemic was closed. Here we go. The move was made to improve our cost structure. I get it. Ensure quality. And build schedule integrity for this studio.
Schedule integrity is fantastic.
Because they released 3 games in 2 years. Just like, we got to build schedule integrity. Like, what?
Is that so like EA could control the releases more so they could
Maybe.
fill in gaps in the year?
That's
the only thing I can
They
think
owned
of.
Pandemic for 2 years. They put out 3 games. Like, not enough. I can't believe that.
That seems like a lot.
Yes. Seems like a lot. Also, no, they never made any other Pandemic games from those
the
franchises.
Mercenaries I never touched.
That's a lot.
Yes. So Mercenaries game was actually announced a week after Pandemic was shut down by EA. But it wasn't officially canceled until the closure of Danger Close Games in 2013.
I never even heard about that game.
What is that?
It was called Mercenaries Inc. was what they were working on, and that was the working title.
Whoa.
Yeah, Mercs Inc.
Missed
excuse me.
that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, like, it was nothing. There was never a trailer or anything. You know, it was like
Yeah.
it was. I think actually some footage may have leaked of it. I love all of that as a story. I mean, it's so sad. It's EA gobbling up this poor company and spitting it back out within 2 years.
Yeah.
Who was great, who made many great games.
Do you think they took any of the employees, or did they just fire everybody?
They took like 15 employees, and those are the people who worked on Mercs Inc.
Jeez.
Yeah, in the LA.
Well, it's like we were all frustrated for various reasons with both Battlefront games. Imagine if you were at Pandemic. You know, imagine if you like played that Battlefront when it came out. You're just
And
like,
you're like,
when you like when 3, you were ready. You had it. You had
Yeah.
the whole thing mapped out. You're like, here we go.
Yeah.
2 best-selling Star Wars games ever. Let's make the 3rd.
Yeah. I wonder for EA if they really just wanted BioWare. You know,
yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
just dropping Pandemic 2
The
years.
little gas mask for their logo. That logo, the yellow logo. Just
Yeah, man.
Mercenaries 1. I'm gonna get back to that game someday.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I remember back in the day working on game trailers, and like that was one of the first games of that gen where I could not wait to get out of work. I would drive home thinking about Mercenaries like the whole time.
It was like top down, right? Tactical?
I think it's third person.
No, it
game.
was third person
shooter.
but it was lots of vehicles, airstrikes, like, and you had to like get so there were like 52 cards, and they all represented different generals, and you could kill them and take a picture and get credit, but if you brought them in, you would get double the money, and I brought in every single person.
Jones,
If
that's
they
cool,
died,
dude.
I restarted.
Yeah, I mean, can EA do something with Mercenaries, or should we just consider it dead?
Battle Royale, baby. No,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You bring in other players. Am
Also-
I thinking of Commandos? What am I thinking of?
Maybe I played
It's like a
Commandos with Hubert.
top-down, like tactical kind of like.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of Commandos.
Okay.
Destroy All Humans is actually owned by THQ Nordic now.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don was talking about that, I think.
Was it really?
He likes that game.
Fascinating concept,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and they kind of hinted they might work on something new for that game, which is great because I don't think EA ever would. Cool. So yeah, that was just stuff I wanted. That was my Wikipedia rabbit hole for this week. Man, that guy Nick Earl, who was like so cold about closing it down, he went on to be like mobile, head the mobile division of EA, and now he just has his own mobile game studio. Yeah.
Do you know the name of that?
So it turned out okay.
Jones, I didn't memorize
Oh?
it. They specialized in 3D freemium games.
I wonder.
The Dream.
The Dream, yeah.
The Dreamium.
Freemium.
3D freemium? Like, oh, man. Oh.
Oh, wow.
Schedule integrity. Oh, my God.
Business freaks me out.
Business freaks me out,
We're
too.
bad
The
at
next
it.
time any ally misses a deadline, I'm going to be like,
Schedule integrity.
Huber,
Schedule integrity.
we got to talk about your schedule integrity.
I'll be like, I mean, like,
Dude, anytime anyone's late for a shoot,
Yeah.
you talk about our schedule integrity.
I want another
We had some schedule
developer to
integrity
talk
problems
about
today.
this.
We
did.
yeah,
I want
right?
to hear another developer talk about like a,
There's stories there.
GDC panel.
Yes.
Schedule integrity.
Schedule integrity.
Schedule integrity. One last tidbit, actually, that I thought was interesting. Danger Close Games was EA's LA studio. They were only called Danger Close Games for 2 games. Medal of Honor, the reboot, and Medal of Honor Warfighter, the one with beards. And then they're like, oh, okay, we're done.
That's a bad name.
Yeah. Warfighter?
Yeah. It's
No, Danger Close and Warfighter.
Warfighters.
Danger Close, I think, has like a military meaning, especially within Medal of
Oh,
Honor.
I suppose. Yeah, I could see someone saying that over a radio.
Yeah. But
Alright,
yeah,
that's
now
less
they're
dumb
now
then.
they're Dice LA and they just help out Dice. Brutal biz. Speaking of brutal biz, the juiciest headline this week that I'd like to speak about is
Speak about it, Kyle.
speak about it. Something that happened with the ESRB this week. Maybe no context. Maybe Jones, just read their statement. Let's just for Damiani and Ian, let's just read this statement.
I have no idea what this is.
It's all loot boxes.
Yes, it is.
You may have noticed that we've been a little quiet on the topic of in-game purchases and loot boxes.
Little quiet attitude. Oh, I'm sorry. I should give context to the ESRB because we have an international audience. That is the U.S. organization that rates our games. If
Right.
it's rated M for mature, that comes from the ESRB.
Isn't that like parents?
No,
I thought they were like people, not a business or something.
it's weird. It's it's the video game industry funds it basically.
Oh, there's attitude coming.
Okay, here we go.
Okay,
All right,
here we
Jones.
go. Already, it's up.
But we've been listening. In fact, we've absorbed every tweet,
Every tweet.
email,
Absorbed it.
Facebook post, and singing telegram sent our way.
Oh boy.
And we've been working to develop a sensible approach to let gamers and parents know when a game offers the option to purchase additional content. Starting soon, ESRB will begin assigning a brand new label to physical games: in-game purchases.
That's in all caps, right?
Yeah.
In-game
Well,
purchases, all caps.
Capital
No,
first
just
letter.
capital I, capital G, capital B.
Right. Yeah.
This label, or as we call it, interactive element, will appear on boxes and wherever those games can be downloaded for all games that offer the ability to purchase digital goods or premiums with real-world currency. This includes features like bonus levels, skins, surprise items such as item packs, loot boxes, mystery awards, music, virtual coins, and other forms of in-game currency, subscriptions, season passes, upgrades, e.g. to disable ads, and more. We're also launching We're also launching a new website, parentaltools.org, to help raise awareness of the helpful tools that parents can use to manage the amount of time or money those crafty kids spend playing games. This is the first step of many. We'll continue to discuss how to further enhance our rating system with publishers, developers, gamers, and especially parents. And we'll continue to make adjustments as the need arises. Thank you for all thank you all for your patience on this and your love of the games we rate.
Thank you for your patience. We solved it. We got it. Thanks for your patience. We got it.
Also, the circle around the ESRB logo there looks like the Intel circle.
It does. Yeah.
Inside.
No. Go with the old logo. Where do we start with this?
I mean, the sass is completely uncalled
It's
for.
very funny.
Jones, I only noticed 2 points of
singing
sass.
telegrams?
The
Shut
singing
up.
telegrams.
Like,
Crafty kids, I'm offended
They're just
by,
trying to
actually.
To be like, we're here to finally address this serious issue with a little bit of comedy.
Yeah.
I think they're writing to parents,
Yes.
so I think they're trying to just like relate on that level, maybe.
Those crafty kids,
Yeah.
gamers, and parents.
Well, it might be a Minecraft joke, honestly, because kids love Minecraft.
That's a stretch. Those crafty kids.
I feel like this is written at the U.S. government. This is written to prevent any kind of intervention from any kind of law, like regulation or laws to be passed. This is the ESRB being smart and trying to appease who they represent, game developers and game publishers, who still want this type of stuff to keep going on. Just let's not let the government step in and ruin this for everybody. We need to calm down here. So,
Which is why the ESRB exists in the first place.
So the ESRB is here to shield the gaming industry in some capacity from the dreaded fear of the U.S. government coming in and being like, "That's it." Like movies were threatened, music was threatened. Like they all had to come up with their own self-regulation, or else you don't want to deal with like being regulated by the government. It's like death sentence for you. So this is like we went through this in the like people are making jokes about this on Twitter, on social media. They were like, "Hey, I just woke up. I saw an ESRB message. I guess Bill Clinton or something is gonna get on and make an announcement about video games are safe for everyone again. And like, hey, when's NBA Jam coming out? Oh, I gotta go to the arcade play more. Like they're basically like, it's the '90s again. It's like." I mean, it's they're doing the same thing in terms of what the ESRB needs to do, but at the same time, like there is like you have to look through the veil here. Like this is not designed to help out consumers whatsoever. This is designed to save their own asses and just make publishers happy. It's like, okay, we need to put out language out there that sounds great to everybody, Like the sass you're saying is like, I think that's like making light of how serious. No, this is not that big of, like, hand waving. Like, don't worry, it's not that big of a deal. We got it taken care of. Like, it was only like a few games, and one game mainly like tipped the scales and everything. We won't mention them by name or anything, but like crafty kids, man. Those kids, they get your credit card, they start racking up those charges and stuff. It's like, you gotta be careful about that.
Yeah, so actually, I agree with Damiani's perspective. I think it's almost intentionally broad.
What game will not have this label on it?
Exactly.
Every single game will have this label.
And so if anything's trouble, they're like, what? We put the label on the box?
Right.
Loot boxes was in an item list of that description.
Not only that,
Yeah.
what the heck is an item pack and a mystery award?
They're all just loot boxes.
I want
Yeah.
E3 to have
Award?
mystery awards trailer.
Like, what in the world?
The funny thing about this, like, if it is for the consumer, it's for those parents who are worried about their kids being able to just
Right, 'cause they have that dumb website.
spend $1 million.
Yes.
But like, the funny thing is, like, when you buy a game on Google Play on mobile games, they all say in-app purchases
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So it's just
They all
like
say 'em.
no one's gonna notice this, aside from this like huge press that it's getting now. But like. Literally every game is just going to have that on it, and no one's going to
And
care.
it just said physical boxes. Didn't say anything
No, it
about
said download
No,
stream.
and
okay,
download.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
but-
wherever those games can be downloaded.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's just gonna gloss over it.
Yeah.
I mean-
the fact that it includes like season passes and other like outside of the game purchases too, it's like, okay, yeah, then pretty much every game.
Yeah, and the point where I get offended is it's implied that this is really only a problem for children.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas loot boxes can target people with gambling addictions.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And so it's kind of effed up in that way. And
Or
just,
people that don't have it yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. It can activate it and things like exactly. And so I wanted to talk to the panel if we think that we can come up with a better system, the system they should use, or if there simply shouldn't be one.
I mean, I think for me, like the when they were like, we've come up with a beautiful label.
Yeah.
It's in-game purchases. I'm like, doesn't everything just already say that? Doesn't it? Because it does on the phone.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like, all right, like this isn't sexy news. It's just like, yeah, okay, who cares?
Well, I guess what my question is, if it says in-game purchases on the box and then beneath it loot boxes,
I think
is that good or bad?
I mean, they could do that. I think the solution that would help out people who would be targeted by this the most, and actually do some good for people, is it should have some kind of gambling advisory on ones that have loot boxes, like paid like loot box like systems. Just have a warning on there that's like, if you're they should, anything that has like paid loot boxes should be like restricted probably to only can be purchased by like, they might need to be M or something. So like a kid can't buy it. Like a kid cannot buy a game with gambling. You can't go gambling as a kid. Games should be regulated as a gambling game. You have to be a certain age to even purchase it. Playing it on your own, so if a parent wants you to do that, so be it. That's their choice. Like don't overstep your bounds there. But it should have like a big thing on there, like gambling advisory or something. So
They don't want to touch the word gamble.
sorry,
do they?
I mean they're not going to do that, but that's
Yeah.
what it needs to have.
But I mean, that's why I think this is a half measure, and it's like it's kind of neutered because, like we've said, every single game is going to say this. So
Yeah.
really, this is actually helping no one. And like Damiano was saying, it's just a covering our ass move because the people that need to be helped by this, are the parents who are afraid their kids are going to accidentally or whatever spend thousands of dollars on a game, or people who might have a gambling problem. And it's like, since every game is going to say this information is helping no one, because literally every game is going to say this. So like parents who are worried, like they're not going to know, because if my game only has a season pass and 2 story DLCs that once you buy them, you've bought them, like my risk as a parent is, oh no, my kid spent $20. Like, I don't necessarily care about that, but I don't want my kid to buy $4,000 worth of skins in a game that they can do that in.
Yeah.
You know, with my credit card. Like, if my kid gets into League of Legends and he spends 10 grand of my money, that's the one I want to know about. But now they're all just going to have this warning, so it tells me nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff that some of the companies are trying to do that make the gacha games specifically.
Right.
They're now publishing rates that you can get stuff. Like they're being
On the Apple Store, right?
yes,
Like the Apple Store.
Like
mandates
Apple,
that?
I think
Yes.
was the one who forced them to do it, or some
Yeah.
some self did it, but I think there was some pressure to do it as well. That's like a good step towards that. Like something
Love
maybe
that,
on the
yeah.
box it has to clear, like, either when you sign in online or something, it tells you, here are the rates that you're going to be able to get this. So, like, this is a 1 in, like, 100,000, and you're going to spend $10 on each roll. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, those, like, need to be published, I feel like, to help out, because keeping that secretive, like, that person's, like, it just feeds into, like, gambling addiction when you start you come up with your own fallacies and stuff because you don't know the hard data.
Yeah.
And
that's legally required in China now, right?
Well,
somewhere.
I don't know that.
Some country, I think, legally requires that you publicize all percentages.
So even like Overwatch in China?
I think so.
Because like I think it would be cool if Overwatch in the U.S. or anywhere in the world does like say like here's your chance of getting a legendary skin, but it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It super takes the like quote unquote fun out of it, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's not real fun, right?
No, it's not. It's not real fun. It's not. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate these types of games so much because I like the reason I get so angry about them and I call them gambling is because what game do you need to spend thousands of dollars on, which you could like there's the story of Fire Emblem Heroes, where someone tried to get Hector and spent like $1,000 to get them. Someone in one of the Final Fantasy gacha games tried to get, I think, like Cloud or someone, spent like $10,000, some exuberant amount. Like, there should be a fixed amount where you unlock the damn everything. Like,
right.
they're feeding and preying on people of gambling addictions because, like,
yeah.
you will make us this much money.
And that's the
Some
reason they
people
don't
are
want
gonna
to
play-
do that. Yeah.
That's why they don't.
Yeah, they're going to do
really cool, to be
everything to
honest.
avoid, like, calling this gambling, labeling it gambling, or going, like, treating it like people have gambling addiction. That they'll do everything possible
That's
to
why
try
I
and stave
love
this off.
Smite back in the day. I don't know if they still have this, but at least when I was playing it back in the day, there was an option to just buy every hero.
Yeah, when it first launched, they did that. Yeah.
I think, and it said every hero right now and forever.
Yes.
For like, I think it was like $40 or something like that. I mean, whatever. Don't correct it, but like,
don't correct it.
I was like, that's a great idea, and it builds interest in the game now. It builds a base, and then it rewards those people for being early adopters.
But the thing is, that's technically a season pass, right?
Right.
And they're like lumping that in.
Yeah.
That's like another problem that I have with this is they're like, this includes features like bonus levels.
Right.
Man,
Yeah. DLC.
those pesky bonus levels.
Yeah, take that.
that we've had to
Zelda,
pay
that's-
extra for
yeah,
that have
yeah.
been the bane of this industry. It's
Right.
like this is
Some of this
loot
not
boxes
paid?
is it. That's it.
Right.
It's the only thing.
It's all
and
paid.
not only are they so
Okay,
scared to
okay.
focus on it, they came up with item packs and mystery awards, which is just this complete, like just another word for loot boxes.
Yeah.
God, it's
I think
frustrating.
mystery reward is you get
Virtual
probably might be
coins,
something you
like-
get something unique each time. You can't get duplicates. Like what was it? Some of these you can never get a repeat or anything like that.
They changed Overwatch to be like.
So
that.
it's like you always get a unique. So it's technically you're technically never wasting your money. Like you're not throwing it away on something you can't use at all or something. I don't know. It's mystery.
mean,
box.
or they add up the value and give you the currency that you can use to buy more stuff. You know,
Right,
it's just
right.
like, all right, we'll just, you already have that, so we'll just blow it up and give you the coins you can use to buy another box.
To me, that language is A, legal jargon, cover your butt, because we're literally describing everything, and B, it's for parents again who maybe aren't clear on what loot boxes is, so they repeat themselves 3 times. They say item packs, loot boxes, mystery awards. So it's like item pack is what it is. Loot box is a term you might have heard before, and if you're still not getting it, mystery awards.
Yeah.
It's like they're just
get you
trying to
there.
make it really dumbed down.
Yeah, they even talk about coins when like coins isn't everything. Yeah, and I mean to go back to how Damiani originally pitched this, I just think that the games that do have loot boxes don't want to look bad, and they won't because they have the thing that all the other games have on them. They have that same little indication, and I think it is. I think it is them protecting themselves. I think it's the ESRB doing maybe its job of legally protecting the video game industry, which is
funny-
what they were created to do.
It's funny to think about that in that way because like part of you always kind of wants to believe like, oh, the ESRB is like against the gaming industry somehow because they're the ones who like slap M's on everything. Like you hear about like Matt and Trey had to send Team America World Police in, cutting out like frames until the MSRB or whatever, like whatever the letters are, like gave it an R instead of an NC-17. You know, like
MPA?
that's
MPA.
MPA.
Nice.
Like that's the like they're like fighting each other. You know, like but yeah, thinking of the ESRB as like. No, this is just the like legal protective arm of the video games industry, and they're all just like colluding to like BS all of us.
Right.
It's very
Self-regulate
funny.
so that the U.S. government won't touch
Won't
them.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very
I feel
interesting.
like video games historically have the perspective that I think publishers and developers might have had. I think there's been a few exceptions. Is that the ESRB is a little bit more lenient when it comes to ratings, because like you just send them like here's the worst part of our game. Here you go, view it. And
yeah, because they don't play through.
They don't even
game.
play through the games and
play
stuff. They made that there's a
course.
whole expose on it. So it's like
wow.
the
very trusting.
MPAA had that like documentary that said like they sometimes target certain like, because it is random anonymous people that you never like hear, you can never know and stuff. Right. And they'll be like, why did our film get an R when this other one, which has way worse stuff, got a PG-13? Like, do you have some kind of like agenda here? Whereas it feels like in video games, it's like, sure, this looks okay. It's just like, it's not, there's like not as much like, I think, effort put into it. It's just, I could be completely wrong. I apologize, but
I feel like I've seen what is the wording that they use? I've seen like the MSRB or ESRB thing on a trailer or whatever where it says like M rating expected.
Yeah,
or whatever,
I have
where
seen
it's like,
expected. Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever phrasing they
Yep.
say, like
Yes.
where it's like, this is gonna be mature, like whatever, but it hasn't been rated yet. But they just put it on, and I've always kind of had that thing where it's just like the publishers are just rating them themselves, basically.
Yeah, I doubt they're ever surprised at this point.
Right? Oh yeah. You know.
yeah, I don't think there's ever been an instance where some game's been called off like that was horribly mislabeled in terms of its ESRB rating.
not
So
that I
everyone's just
recall.
like, business as usual.
Also, they don't seem to like. Besides, like a few instances where it's like a kid can't buy an M-rated game, they seem pretty soft on the enforcement of these.
Oh, yeah.
ratings.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've seen kids
Especially
walking
online
around with,
nowadays.
yeah.
It's like,
oh yeah, everybody playing everything. Yeah.
buy that Amazon gift card and you can purchase that game with circumventing any kind of age check.
But just one thing real quick, too, that just
Yes,
pisses me off about this message. Whose
ahead.
fault is this? It's the publishers. It's the people making these games. It's EA's fault that they did not advertise the way that loot boxes, that we didn't know until we played the beta. And we're like, wait, what? You know, and like it's asking for forgiveness instead of permission. You know, it's like, well, this won't be too bad for us. You know, and the fact that he's like, those crafty kids, like, how dare you? It's like, we wouldn't have this problem if these kids just weren't spending money all over the place. EA didn't do anything wrong. It was those kids with the credit cards that were just blowing it out playing Battlefront.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
How dare you?
You're right.
Like, what?
Yeah.
It's predatory a lot of times, like you were saying, like preying on people with addictions or preying on the like kids. You know. Yeah, making it simple enough that a kid can enter a credit card number.
Yeah.
I'm talking like a 7-year-old or whatever. I mean, kids are pretty amazing, but
And also, if your kid's got your credit card, this is
Yeah.
the only thing you got to worry about that he's spending money on.
Right.
He's not just going to go buy more games.
right.
Like,
that's on you if your kid has your credit card.
I'm not surprised, but yeah, what a frustrating thing to read.
Although I guess if you're logged in on PlayStation or whatever, you can just buy stuff without putting it in. So yeah.
It happens.
What was the one where the kids racked up like a huge amount of money?
The Smurfs, I think. I remember the Smurfs was a mobile game that some kid spent like $25,000
I gotta
to
tell
get
you,
like
I
strawberries.
heard something like
Yeah.
that, like on a phone. It was
Those
just
stories like
insane.
never interest me. It's like, all right, you know. And what sucks is like somebody's life, they have to like actually pay for that. Their life is ruined for a little while. But I just can't. I can't read it.
I mean, that's why I'm like, just spend the $600 and just get your kid a phone and have their account be limited.
Nah, I don't think it's that easy. I think
Right?
It's hard to say no to your kids. You love them.
I mean, I don't think it's a
That remains to be seen.
It's a question. It's not a question of
mean-
saying no. It's a question of they have the access to do it without asking. And maybe in the case of several of these stories, not even comprehending that they're spending real money.
Yeah.
Like the kids don't even know.
Sure.
Yeah.
They don't understand.
And like the fact that access is there is the problem. It's like you need to have a way to have a kid account or whatever.
I go to that
like
website.
Netflix,
Ian.
Netflix Kids.
No, I gotta go to that
They'll help you out.
parentaltools.org.
I want to do some good video game news. I want to do some stuff that's actually like positive. And that is actually the NPDs of January. NPDs, of course, the trackers of the video game sales of America, North America. And so there's a lot of good stuff here. I'm going to start with the best stuff because this is actually the most interesting part. Well, no, the top 10 is more interesting. But anyway, I love this part of it.
What a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But
But
So, all three consoles, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, all had an excellent January.
Nice.
Yay.
The
That's
Switch sold the most devices. The most consoles were sold for the Nintendo Switch.
good.
But
Period.
in terms of revenue, PlayStation 4 did the best.
Oh yeah,
It's more expensive.
that's good.
Yeah. However, the difference between the least amount of revenue and the most amount of revenue in dollars spent, 3%. So basically, everybody did excellent. It was the best January of the Xbox One ever.
That's good. January's always seemed like one of the slow months. I know.
yeah.
I know.
For
There's
movies,
a
yeah,
lot of games that have come out in January here and there, but Q1, like January, February, kind of feels like the slow. Then everything starts hitting in March.
Kyle, do these count PS4 and PS4 Pro and Xbox One S, Xbox One and Xbox One X all as one thing?
Yeah, and I think they might also include PSVR in PlayStation hardware sales.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Should count.
And accessories? Like controllers and
That's
stuff?
expensive. That's a pretty expensive.
Yeah,
accessory.
they divide it up, but I do wonder when they say consoles at the end of at the very very top if they include accessories as well. But yeah, I think actually PSVR is counted as hardware. But Damiani just said January normally a pretty slow month, but we had 2 pretty big releases in January.
Yeah, this year is an exception.
This is a pretty big exception.
Yeah, I know what they are.
What are they?
Let's go with a Monster Hunter World
Okay.
Right.
and
Goaty 2018.
Dragon Ball Fighters. Mm-hmm. I think Japan dominated.
Japan
I
dominated.
think Japan won.
So yeah,
Good job, Japan.
As Damiani just stated, Monster Hunter World #1, Dragon Ball Fighters #2. These two
Nice.
games came out late January.
Yeah.
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 Still #1 and #2.
God, Monster Hunter is so
Amazing.
good.
Yeah. Damiani,
so
do you
good.
remember you and I had a bet? I said it probably that Dragon Ball Fighters wouldn't get in the top 5 of the NPDs, and you wouldn't take the bet. You're like, I had to know the month.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's important.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is important. I wonder if Dragon Ball Fighters would have done as well in November. It wouldn't have it, obviously, actually.
I wonder if it'll do as well in February.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I bet it doesn't.
Well, it won't. It won't be #2. Monster Hunter World has a chance, I think, of
I think
retention.
it'll stay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty incredible, actually. That Monster Hunter World. I mean, we talked about a little bit on last week's episode about how it, is the best-selling fastest-selling Capcom game ever.
Ever. They had a 5 million copies sold event, and then
Yeah.
like 2 days later, it was 6 million. I was
Yeah.
like, all right.
That's good for Capcom.
It's
Like,
great for Capcom.
Capcom needs some good news.
I think it's great for everybody.
Everybody,
Yeah, everyone's
It's
a
good for the
winner.
industry.
Because I got the vibe for a while where people were like, let's. I mean, Square just released this horrible, Chrono Trigger for PC port today, and so it's just
we're
always
getting-
the vibe
we're
where
getting
it's
to
like,
that. We're getting to that,
like we wanna give some love to this franchise, but what's like the least amount of money and attention we can spend on it? And like,
Okay, you know what?
Let's remaster that old game, or like, let's make a mobile version of it, or like, let's add some DLC that'll like kind of get to it.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter World is them taking that classic franchise and blowing it up in every possible way. It looks better. I just think it's
Quality.
makes me excited. I
Yeah.
hope other certainly Japanese publishers, but I hope the whole industry is looking at Monster Hunter World and being like, hey, what franchise do we have that we just haven't been nice to?
Yeah.
we
Dragon's
haven't
Dogma.
really.
Yeah. What's really cool, Jones, about Monster Hunter World is that I think this rarely happens when you go for a broader audience that everybody likes the game.
Yeah, that's a good thing, Kyle.
Sure.
So I was on a car ride to go see a movie this past week, Annihilation, actually.
What is
I want
that?
to talk
film.
about that with you.
We can
Really?
talk about it later.
What is Annihilation?
Natalie Puatman.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
movie based on a series of amazing books.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, I was having a discussion with my friend about why do you think this was this was the breakout Monster Hunter? Because the quality has kind of been there. Like Monster Hunter Monster Hunter 3 for Wii and Wii U was an excellent game. So it's like that game was really good. Is it really just they streamlined everything and it just looks beautiful on PS? Like, was it really a fidelity thing?
For me
Yeah,
as an
streamlining
outsider,
thing.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
the visual thing helped a lot in the trailers.
It's
Everyone looked at it.
way more accessible, I think.
Yeah, and then they were like, dude, like you, Monster Hunter 3 to you might have seemed simple enough, but Monster Hunter World just takes it even further. It just makes a lot of the annoying stuff
It
go
explains
away.
it better,
yeah.
too.
In my brain, am I putting
Sorry.
too much value on when it was announced? That like Sony on their stage at E3 was like, "Hey, everybody, stop what you're doing."
That was big.
Look at Monster
Oh, yeah.
Hunter. Like that was one of the big. I mean, that was kind of a disappointment of a press conference.
That was the biggest-
compared to the
yeah.
their previous two, but like that was the highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that.
I don't
got
think
me
that's
very
crazy, Jones.
hyped.
I think that's a good
I
point.
think
That
that
was a
spoke to a lot of
huge
people. It was like,
deal.
oh,
Yeah.
whoa, Sony's making a big deal out of this. So
Yeah.
That to me spoke about how big of a deal it was because the game series has gone back and forth.
Yeah.
It had some loyalty to Sony at first.
On the PSP.
Then it came to Nintendo systems. And I feel like in a long time, a lot of people were asking, hey, can we just get this on like a non-Nintendo platform? I'd like to see like,
Because there was a
high...
PS2 version once, right?
Of what? They're a PS2.
A
They're
Monster
PS2,
Hunter game?
They're a PS2
Yeah.
Monster Hunter game. The
Yeah,
PSP,
exactly. Yeah.
PlayStation 2. There was the PC Japan only one, which was an exception. But then everything started coming to Wii, Wii U, 3DS. And I was like, okay,
And it
where's...
looked grody on the Wii U. It looked like they were using the same models from the 3DS game. It's just like, let's just throw them up on the Wii U.
I mean, the Wii U wasn't like a
I don't think so.
powerhouse.
Like the Wii U version was like HD. Like it made it look pretty nice. I
it
thought.
looked simply stinky, Damiani.
think
I always
so.
thought it looked a
did.
little grody because it looked like an MMO to me.
Yeah, it
it
did.
looked like
Okay,
an MMO.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
It
was like,
didn't look
man,
bad.
if I'm
It
gonna
looked
play a game
simple.
that looks like this, that has this kind of gameplay, and there's only 3 other people walking around with me, like, it's like I'd rather play Final Fantasy 14, or I'd rather play Warcraft, or I'd rather play something where there's like tons of people around.
Yeah.
And the world just feels bigger.
Zones
Like, it
always
feels kind of
felt
lonely
small
in this,
too.
in
Yeah,
these
the
games.
zones always felt small.
Well, the
in those,
zone loading
but
thing-
I
You gotta
thought that
load
was.
between
But I always
zones,
thought that was a carryover from its PSP portable heritage that they had to make it.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
Japanese
4U, you
audience was
could
so used to
play-
that and they loved it.
You could play 3DS and Wii U at the same time, which was cool.
And I don't
yeah-
want to talk down to Monster Hunter. I don't want to call a game grody that people really loved.
Sure.
That was just me having no context on the series, looking from the outside.
Yeah, but back to the point, it being on PS4, something I think a lot of people were like waiting for a long time. Like, can it just please come back to like a HD like system that? I mean, yes, other systems on Nintendo we use HD, but they wanted like the top of the line console, like the most powerful at the time, PS4 Pro, which has now been surpassed by Xbox One X. But still, people wanted that. They wanted it on one of the like bleeding edge consoles rather than a Nintendo platform.
It's on both, by the way. It is on
Yeah,
Xbox
it's on
One.
Xbox.
No, I know that, but like people are asking for it to be on PlayStation because it seems to be more of a place, like it has a legacy with like
Sure.
PlayStation, Nintendo, Japanese audience.
Yeah.
but it's on both of those, so it's like, hey, you get the best of both. You can play it on either platform, and it
Yeah.
looks amazing on both. So that to me spoke a lot about it. But like, I haven't touched it yet, so I'm just like, I saw the review, and I'm just like, is it? It was really that, huh? It really just need all this stuff, and it's.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to do as well as it did, though. This
Yeah.
is insane. This is insane for Monster Hunter World.
Pretty
It
incredible.
is very
This is insane.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. This is insane.
What's so funny is I made fun of Capcom for saying like, yeah, we're probably gonna sell 10 million of this, and I was like, yeah, right. Good
That was
luck,
the
dudes.
reaction.
Yeah. Good luck,
Yeah.
dudes. Yeah.
Meanwhile, at Capcom.
Yeah, they're easily gonna make that. Yeah, that's so funny to me because like Capcom knew for some reason. That's I guess is what crazy. They were Babe Ruth. They pointed out to the stands and like, yeah, Monster Hunter World, we're going to send 10 million. It's like, what? Come on, never have you gotten close to that. They're like, we got it.
That was the craziest thing to me, was that it's their fastest selling. Like,
That-
I was amazed that like RE4 or 7 or anything didn't sell that many.
Yeah. I wonder if it's just this weird internet era, this weird Twitch era, this weird social media era where word of mouth can be that powerful for a game.
I think it's a confluence of a very dedicated player base on top of that word of mouth.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a
Like,
yeah,
it's both of those things driving it.
good timing for when it came out, too. Like, both systems had established, like, sales, like a lot of
Yeah.
units out there. You mentioned, like RE4. That was a GameCube exclusive at first. Not the system a lot of people probably wanted to play that game on. So, some of their other games, like Devil May Cry 4 was a big one, but then went multi-platform. And
Yeah.
it's like, what did you do? So, but I mean, it came out on PS3, which wasn't the best selling at the time. Remember, it was struggling. PS3 was struggling for several years after its release.
Yeah.
360 was doing great, but it probably hurt that because PS4 and Xbox One are both doing really well.
Yes.
That was probably a much better situation for them to have than they probably had in some of the past instances. Not saying every single release they were suffering from that, but this seemed like a really good time for them to put it out with how many units have been moved to both those platforms.
Well, all right, Damiani. Devil May Cry 5, is that going to be the next fastest selling Capcom game?
Single player.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the catch.
I don't think Devil May Cry will.
So
It's so
here's my
fast
this
because
is-
people
no.
got to get in.
Here's
now.
my reason
they know,
why.
They know January, February, March. This is the
Zeitgeist.
time to play Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
Jump in while everybody's
I
playing.
think the thing is, yes, everything just said. Like
Yeah.
the zeitgeist behind it, like being like streamed, being a multiplayer game, being a cooperative multiplayer game, it like has a lot more going for it that lends itself towards people wanting to have I hate using this phrase, shared experiences. Jeez. Playing online together, like
Yes.
cooperative with your friends, like
Yeah.
this, and streaming it and showing it off and watching other people
Getting
playing
gear,
it.
getting cool outfits. It's all part
Devil
of it.
May
I
Cry is
think.
going to
Yes.
be okay, it has a little bit higher barrier entry unless they do something radical with it. Some people are gonna be like intimidated, like this is a really hard game series, isn't it? It looks cool. I'm gonna watch it on Twitch. Or if you're playing it, there'll be a lot of excitement behind the announcement of it, and I think it will sell well. But I do not think it will do as well as Monster Hunter World. I don't think a Devil May Cry game can touch Monster Hunter World.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Also, Monster Hunter World is a very unique game because I don't know if it's a combination of the jolly vibes, the like cool look, but also just
The cats.
and the palicos. But it's not an overly difficult game, and it's not an overly simplistic game. It has that weird range of appeal for, I think, a lot of different kinds of gamers too.
Yeah.
I think like the people who really want to get nitty gritty into the complicated systems, that's all there for them. The people who just want to like jump in and hunt some monsters
Swing
and
a
like do
big
the
sword.
story, swing a big sword and call it a day, that's there too.
Yeah.
It's like this perfect game because it basically has 14 different combat styles and living inside of it. Oh god, that game's so good.
Yeah.
I think also stream-wise, I think Monster Hunter World's the kind of game where more fans will enjoy watching someone play that's not necessarily that good.
Sure.
I think Battleground fans do not want to watch crappy Battleground players. Fortnite Battle Royale fans do not want to watch bad people play that game. Dragon Ball Fighters, Tekken, Injustice. I think like that
Yeah.
that community wants to watch the best people in the world playing it. Whereas like you watch 4 people just get completely pounded and by some giant monster, and like it looks awesome.
Because they're having fun.
That's
It's
great.
fun regardless.
Yeah,
they're having fun,
it's
yeah.
kind of like Sea of Thieves. I think
Comedy
I'm
value
hoping
there.
Sea of Thieves is the same kind of thing where it's like failure, that boat sinks, that's
Yeah.
a win. You know, like that's a fun thing to watch.
Sea of Thieves, it's like better if things are going poorly.
Yeah. Because that's why, as a Fortnite fan, I've kind of stayed away from streaming Battle Royale, because when I do, chat's just full of people who's like, "Who's this? This guy sucks."
I know.
And I'm like, I'm not
Yes.
claiming I'm any good at this.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know,
Put it in the
but it's
title,
like
Jones.
just showing up with that game.
That's
You're
gonna happen
kind
with Devil May
of
Cry.
you're kind
Yeah.
of saying like, "Hey, here's my Battle Royale."
Well, and also
Oh, yeah.
Devil May Cry, because it's a story game. It doesn't have that same stream appeal.
Random
Spoilers.
stuff won't pop up.
There's no,
Right.
there's no
Well, right,
Monster
yeah,
Hunter
I
World
get that,
spoilers
yeah.
you're
Right.
worried
The
about.
stream appeal will be like people doing cool combos and stuff, and like,
Yeah, but it's
they
like-
look flashy, but if you can't do that, no one's gonna care about you. Yeah.
Number 3 was Call of Duty World War II.
Of course.
Still selling. I don't know. That's of course. That's a big, that's
Top
a big
5,
deal.
probably.
There was a
Yeah.
time when we thought like Call of Duty might go away.
Yeah.
Maybe.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds number 4.
PUBG
Yeah.
officially
right.
out.
Nice.
Yep.
I gotta play more of that.
Yeah, and I think that is.
Fortnite.
I think that only includes console sales too
So
of
only-
PUBG. So that is only on the Xbox One version.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, PUBG.
Boom.
PUBG.
Monster
Number
beast.
5, GTA 5.
Okay,
Why?
what are the chances GTA 5 will outsell Red Dead in its launch?
Oh,
month?
dude, I can't. But I'm
Its
so
launch
excited
month?
when
It
both.
won't in its launch month.
I'm
no.
so excited when both of those online modes are running at the same time.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
How many months will it take for GTA 5 to overtake Red Dead's spot in the top 10 in
It
the
depends on
monthly?
what. It depends on what Red Dead Online is.
So
like.
what? It comes out in November.
October.
Comes out in October.
28th.
Okay, so GTA 5 will outrank it February of 2019. That's my guess.
Okay.
I don't know though, because if Red Dead has the same kind of online, because that's how it's making its money.
That
right?
it could, yeah, that it could. You,
Then
you
they're-
can see
they're
it.
gonna be
no
neck and
Ferraris, no helicopters, no yachts, no
June
limos,
2019.
no
June-
bazookas,
June.
no
Yeah.
yeah.
June 2019.
Red Dead's gonna
I'll
sell
get
like
signed.
crazy.
Red Dead's gonna be nuts.
Still selling crazy. NBA 2K18.
Wow.
I don't get it. Everyone hated this game. They were mad about it. It would definitely would have a little loot boxes thing on it. But yeah, it's still selling like crazy. 7, not 8, and 9. Super Mario Odyssey, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8, and those do not include digital sales, whereas most of these do.
Mario Kart 8.
Wait,
Yeah.
does that mean only those are hard copies,
Yeah,
physical
only
copies?
physical
sold?
for
The
those
only
three.
Nintendo's
Yep.
data includes the.
Whoa!
Yeah,
the
Nintendo-
fact
they don't share.
The fact that they're that high and they're physical only
Yeah,
means that those could be like number 1.
they could be number 1, but
Well,
they could be higher.
They could be
Yes.
like number 4 or 3.
Nintendo shares the combined sales data eventually.
Yes.
Yes. You never to get the digital only, but in their quarterly reports they put out Super Mario Odyssey has moved like 4.92 million.
But it's like
units,
they're
yeah.
always doing a little better than these lists.
Yes,
might
yes,
indicate,
yes,
which
yes.
is
That
what
doesn't
I
include
mean.
eShop or anything like
That's
that.
nuts.
Yeah.
Wow, good job, Nintendo.
People be selling video games right now.
People be.
Yes. Yeah. The consoles,
Wii U
the games,
game?
it's all so
You
exciting.
remember when
yeah.
consoles were
Ported to
dying?
Switch
Yeah.
months
Yes.
after release is still in the top 10.
Yeah.
It's
Consoles
nuts.
are
Yeah,
dying.
that's
Everything's
bonkers.
Consoles are
going
dying.
mobile.
Mobile's the future.
Mobile's the future.
Mobile's the
Your
future.
phone.
That was
3D
during like
freemium.
PS3 when like games weren't that amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Number
like
10
they
was
were, but-
Madden.
Sure.
Still selling.
I will say one thing about mobile though. all of the games that you just said are very, very good video games that took a very creative crew to worked extremely hard to put forth a very, very pleasurable effort. You can make a really crappy mobile game and make a ton of money. So it's like,
Right. These people might be the wrong business. Yeah.
you know,
You all hear that?
So bleak.
Oh, sounds like it's podcast halftime.
the following are the official sponsors of Easy Allies for the month of February. Mango. Scorn, an atmospheric horror adventure currently in development at Ebb Software, set in a nightmarish universe of odd forms and somber tapestry. Go to scorn-game.com for more information. Hogue Law, business law firm. Whether you're starting a business at level 1, stuck fighting the dreaded fundraising boss, or finally cashing out with a well-earned high score, you need a good business lawyer at your side. Rick Hogue started Hogue Law to bring more than a decade of experience to companies like yours and is proud to support the Allies. Check him out at hoeglaw.com. iKeyless. Since 2002, iKeyless has specialized in replacement automotive keys and remotes. They can save you up to 75% off dealership prices. Visit their updated website at iKeyless.com and use promo code EZA at checkout for free shipping and an additional 17% off of your order. Sweet Justice, a sound design company based in England that's worked on Battlefield, Mirror's Edge, Injustice 2, Call of Duty, Cuphead, and a load of indies. Check out their website at www.sweetjustice.audio. Brent Klaus. Brent Klaus is a 2D animator and illustrator specializing in motion graphics and art direction. He produces animated content for brands using bold colors, fun character animation, and will sneak in a video game reference wherever he can. You can find him and his work on Twitter at Brent Klaus. El Thanis. Jojo Dentco, your friendly automotive dent repair expert. If you're currently an EZA patron and are in the Denver metropolitan area, tweet at FastMower if you would like to have your minor door dings repaired, free of charge. All of these links are available in the description. Thank you to our sponsors.
What are you sponsors?
Just a couple things.
Yeah, what's up?
Just a shout out to Jojo Denko, sponsor for a while, will not be returning in March. Just thank you to Jojo.
Oh, definitely.
And also to, I believe Brent Klaus will not be around next month, and Sweet Justice.
Cool.
Are bowing out for the month of March, and we love them. And I just love that we mention a Sweet Justice game every time.
Yeah.
Every time I read that, it's like, is there? Oh, Call of Duty. There it is.
Yeah, right on the list.
So spots are open.
Feel like
No, they're not. Filled right up.
Oh,
We got some new, fun new sponsors coming.
Sorry
up.
about that.
okay.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry.
I mean, if you really want to,
Talk to John.
maybe
Talk
we
to
can
us.
convince Kyle.
You know what? I kind of want to get to Love and Respect, so let's kind of blast through the stories that we got. Jones, I mean, you basically encapsulated everything we had to say about Chrono Trigger coming out today. Basically, Chrono Trigger came out unexpectedly, no pre-announcement, just boom, it's on Steam. So many happy tweets we all saw in our timelines, just like, yeah, cool, finally. Oh, this is what a treat. You know, it's $15 US, great.
Square tweeted out something super cocky, like "the dream has come true" or "it's a great thing." I can't remember what the wording was, but it was.
No, I think that was in the trailer. Even the like
Your time has come.
Yeah,
Finally,
we've done it for
Legendary.
you. It's the mobile version.
You're welcome.
It's nice, Jones. That's like a me. That's a Kyleism. It's strictly the mobile version in weird ways that even just like the UI is the exact same, where like it's designed to be touched with your big dumb thumbs, and that's still in the PC version.
Giant
Wow.
windows
Yes.
Really?
Giant dumb windows.
with
yeah.
boring
Don't
font.
they have like the app icons, like the home button or something, like on the far right on the the launch screen, like the title screen?
There's like on and like in just the world map, there's still like dumb buttons that appear where just like let me just hit the start button. I don't need to see those.
I feel like some intern or something just like tried it, like tried loading up the APK or whatever it is on their phone or on their computer, and then they ran into their boss's office like, boss, guess what we could do? And they were like, sure, seems fine, do it.
I mean, I'd agree if this is the first time they've done that.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is
it's
a Square
all the time.
operating procedure.
This is also why they shadow dropped this.
Yeah.
They gave people too
they-
much time to think about this. It would have been like,
It's the old Cloverfield paradox move.
yeah. They got people excited. People like jumped
great
in on
move.
it, and they were like,
It's a great
"Wait,
move."
what did I buy? What is this? I've been tricked."
Yeah. $15 is like just enough to be like, oh, cool. Oh, no. You click buy and then immediately you're like, no.
Is there some version that's like more than that? Or is it only the collector's edition through April 2nd that's 15? Because someone might have made a typo. I saw someone say 55, and I was like, what?
Yeah. There is a limited edition version.
That costs $55.
I think it costs $40. I mean,
Still $40.
I have to- yeah.
What if that version is completely different? It's like amazing.
It's not.
It's
It just comes with
best
extra
part.
stuff. It comes with wallpapers. They're advertising
Comes with
wallpapers. What year is this?
The musical notes for some of the songs, and then like 5 or 6 select songs or
Yeah,
something.
and music. Yeah.
Wait, like sheet music? Or in-game the...
I forget what it exactly it is. It's musical like notations for some of the songs. I feel like,
Which I think is cool. That's
Yeah,
a little
so you
cool.
might be
Like
able to,
the
like-
sheet music.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure if it's actually literally the sheet music or something that's
Like charts or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's less
Weird.
I know it's our journalistic
lower
duty,
product.
but I was like not interested enough to look in. You know, it's just like just.
I
we're
thought about
honest.
it too, and I was
Yeah.
like, "We're gonna bring that up." And the thing is, like, what do you say?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, all right, we know why they did
Classic Square.
Yeah.
it.
It's a bummer. I should also mention it just looks bad. It's they've like blurred out the pixels, the pixel art.
Oh, so
Apparently-
anti-aliased because they had to size it up so much?
Yeah, but anti-aliasing to a 16-bit game is just like blobbing out
Yeah.
the
People
pixels.
are showing like some of the tile blocks don't line up right anymore in it as
Oh,
well.
no.
So you, like map stuff looks wrong. I was like,
Like, this isn't a cult game. You know,
Right,
this,
yeah.
this
'Cause
isn't
that's
just
where we
like,
gotta
hey,
go,
it,
yes.
it deserves to be known that this little game we all love should get better. This is one of the best role-playing
Yeah.
games in the history of this industry.
Ever.
the best.
That-
Don't even say one of.
that people-
We got it, dude. This is the best.
Calm down. But anyway,
Calm down. One of the greats.
is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
one
yeah,
of
it
the
is,
greats.
yeah. It's one of the greats.
I'll
Is Final
agree to that.
Fantasy VI a
It's
great?
proven.
Not yet. Jones he's sitting on it.
Yeah. Sitting on Warcraft.
Warcraft ain't getting in there.
Yeah, and it blows my mind that this is not the first bad version of Chrono Trigger. Like, I just saw on social media so many times, they're like, I mean, you know, it's not as bad as that laggy PS1 effort or so.
It is. No, it is way worse than the PS1 one.
I mean,
it's
just,
way worse.
people are debating it on social media. So it's just it sucks that it's like, don't play this, play all the other versions of Chrono Trigger. It's like
Yeah.
there's like 2. Really, like 2 versions of Chrono Trigger that you should
That
play.
feel definitive
I think
in
it's
a way,
like
I guess, right?
it's like the DS
Yeah.
and the original.
Yeah.
Is it
And
on
if you're lucky
the-
to get the UK version of
It's
not-
on Virtual Console.
it's
I
not
thought
on the-
did it get delisted though?
Oh, okay. Wow, really?
I don't know. I was curious if it.
But it's on the
It was on there.
It's on the UK
no
version of the Super Nintendo Mini, right?
No, it's-
Classic?
Yeah, my
It's not on there,
my UK version.
Oh,
of the
okay,
Super-
thanks.
I can't believe that happened.
Is this ongoing? This has been going on
Anyway,
that long? People
yeah,
haven't caught on to
the
his
me-
European version.
Anyway. That's so good.
Again,
Damiani
but-
wheeze.
for
Europe-
listeners,
Europe
you're missing
did-
out on some quotation marks.
Yeah, so
Europe did
European
not. Yeah, I think DS was the first time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's the last time I believe
DS
anything
version was the
Damiani
first time they
said.
got
Yeah.
official Chrono Trigger released over there.
What?
Chrono Trigger did not come out over there originally,
What, in Europe?
Yeah,
All they
right?
get is Terranigma? Really?
didn't it? Wasn't the DS version the first time it got released over there?
That would be a fact I was unfamiliar with until this moment.
I laughed myself so hard, my brain's not functioning right now. So
Yeah.
we
I
should
feel like
probably
you-
look this up.
Someone will let us know
Yeah,
later.
I'm handing you the prove it ticket, dude.
Yeah, let's prove this.
Okay.
Look it up.
So yeah, I really don't want to say too much about that. We spoke about
late.
that way too much. Yeah.
Kyle's objective failed.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just go straight to love and respect. Let's do it. Number 100 for Rufus.
Love and respect.
I gotta say, he was sounding good.
He
too.
was crisp,
Wow.
confident.
Good job.
Very.
What a champ.
Crisp and confident. I like. Let's start with this one because we were just talking about Devil May Cry 5. Hello, allies. So, Devil May Cry 5 seems to be a real thing. I think it's fascinating. For a company to reboot an entire franchise and then decide to go back to the original timeline, not with another reboot, but just continue the old story with the same characters. Of course, for now, we don't have any real confirmation that the game exists and will be like that, but let's just assume it is, and I do as well. All right. You've already talked about Devil May Cry 5 in the podcast, yeah, and even tonight, but I don't think you ever have talked about this non-acknowledgement of the reboot. How many times has that happened in the video game industry? Well, except for Sonic, which happens every 2 years. Oh yeah, Sonic Boom. What do you think about that? What other franchise can forget its reboot, and why? Why moving backward instead of forward with what you have established, love and respect, Aurelian?
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Did we call it a reboot, or did Capcom call it a reboot?
DMC?
Yeah.
I think they were very careful to say, old Dante's still around. This
Yeah.
is just a different perspective.
I
But it
always
was
thought it was, like,
absolutely a reboot. It was absolutely
vibe
a reboot.
I got though. That was it because like Metal Gear comes to mind. Like Metal Gear's done all sorts of weird, crazy stuff where they're like, "Hey, acid," and you're like,
Yeah.
"What is this?" You know, like
But
there's
those
like
are
try on this
spinoffs.
weird
Those aren't
game.
reboots, though.
Yeah, Jones, this was like, they didn't think 4 would sell right now. They're like, let's do a different angle. We're going to push everything behind this. It's going to be on all consoles.
And it wasn't just young Dante, like a prequel or like side universe thing.
No.
No,
That was
whole
Devil
new
May
plot,
Cry
whole new
3
thing. Yeah.
was
Yeah.
the
Oh,
prequel.
okay. Call me crazy, and I didn't play DMC really, but like the feeling I had is that DMC 5 would somehow like crash them together, like
Oh, no.
combine them.
No.
I don't think they will do that. That's a cool idea.
I mean,
but
like
I
maybe
think
even
they
in
gotta
a
stay away from
small
that.
way, like young irritating Dante just like shows up or something.
If anything, they'll make a joke about it.
Right.
If anything, they'll just
It's kind of like
trash on the
Kratos
poor
seeing
guy.
himself on the urn, like, you know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
something like-
yeah.
What's that
like
thing?
like the pizza delivery boy is young Dante or something, you know, like
Oh, I like that. That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
good cameo. Kamiana, you got some facts?
Points for
Yeah,
pizza.
so I was right. Chrono
Whoa.
Trigger only came out on
I like DMC, man.
Chrono Trigger only came out on Super
Or
Nintendo
direct-
in Japan and North America in '95. It came out on PlayStation in Japan and North America 2 years apart. '99 in Japan, 2001 in North America. It came out in the DS in Japan, North America, Australia, and Europe. So it was the first time Australia and Europe got Chrono Trigger.
That is so crazy. Not even in Final Fantasy Anthology. Do you think it was just like locks being
So the PlayStation
locked
version's
up,
the anthology.
rights being locked up?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that, along with rights issues, I'm always going to stick by that explanation for why Chrono Trigger's in such a screwed up spot.
Yeah.
An OG Chrono Trigger, not Cross, nothing else, just OG Chrono Trigger. Anyway, reboot.
Yeah, I do want to talk about other series that we think would be good for a non-reboot, like a rebooted
Like
series.
undoing a reboot.
Yeah, what kind of reboot undos could we
Like
do?
if they did it with Spider-Man, like Tobey Maguire shows back up.
Yeah, but we're talking
as
about
an
video
example,
games.
no, I know, yeah,
that's a
as
great.
an example.
Yeah.
What do you think about SSX?
Dude, you just took the words right out of my mouth. If they released a game called SSX4, that'd be dope.
That it would be really cool. Yes.
That'd be neat.
Wow. Yeah.
I think that would be a weird
yeah.
little marketing fun move.
Yeah,
I think the fans would get behind.
that's a really good one.
I'm trying
Forget
to
on
think of
tour. Forget the weird. What was the blur? What was the Wii?
That was Blur. Yeah.
Blur, yeah.
You did
sports
motion.
games are weird though, because it's like they always kind of feel like just different. Like Need for Speed feels like they've kind of done this. They've rebooted it and then
Oh,
they
yeah.
could somehow
Yeah.
go back, but then they kind of did with
But they haven't.
Pursuit or whatever it was.
They haven't gone back to be like, this is a sequel to the old Need for
Right.
Speed Underground. That would be like, it would
well,
be like,
one of them was spiritually underground, kinda.
yeah, but we're talking about like direct sequels.
Right,
For them to like
right.
forget
Okay,
about the
yeah,
reboot.
yeah,
you know what?
yeah.
We made a mistake. We're sorry. Because like the other examples I could think of, and I it's unfair to always say that they're 100% in on a reboot. But do you remember Bomberman Zero? Mm-hmm. This
Yeah.
was the cool looking robot Bomberman game.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
And like
That was a
obviously they bailed on it. Like, okay, no, that's not Bomberman. That's not Bomberman. We're sorry. And I think about Mega Man does it in interesting ways in that Mega Man X was out, but they're like, hey, let's still do Mega Man sequels. In the meantime, and they did for a long time. And Mega Man obviously will do side shoots in different games, but I really think that both X and Mega Man were both mainline games, and so it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting that those continued.
I've got
With each other.
I've got one.
All right, what do you got?
Silent Hill 5.
Yes, that's such a good one. It'd be weird to call what happened reboots, I guess, with like Downpour.
Just different developers. Yeah, they weren't really
Attempt at a reboot.
Yeah.
PT,
An
I would
intended reboot.
say an intended reboot.
Yeah.
is PT.
So I think, you know what? I think it's fair. I think,
But also like the BM against the like Western developed Downpour and Homecoming.
Yeah.
Would be hilarious.
it would have an impact, I think, for Silent Hill 5 to be announced.
Yeah, like if it was just called Silent Hill 5.
Yeah.
Like the L's make a V or something. Like they pull.
Well,
a,
I
they
always
pull a-
wondered.
Yeah, that's fine.
I always wondered if Hills, the S that kind of looks like a 5.
Yeah.
my fives do. Whenever I write it out, it's like looks like
I mean, I imagined that Silent Hills would for sure continue the legacy of the earlier games, because I mean, like, that's all part of it is personal punishments, whatever. But like, yeah, Shattered Memories, great game.
I thought about how cool it would be to do basically. Would it be Tomb Raider 4? I don't know if there was a numbered Tomb Raider. I know they went to like Angel of Darkness and things like
Yeah.
that, but
no,
numbered
3
wise.
was the last number.
There was 1 and 2 for sure, and then 3, right?
Yeah.
Three.
And so I think it'd be cool to have like a Tomb Raider 4 with like an older Lara Croft who's like still that kind of
Sure.
more flat of a character, but like we still kind of like have this reverence for her. Like I think like a Tomb Raider 4 would be kind of cool to be announced.
The camera controls are like old school, like
Yeah, but there's like a dinosaur, you know?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we're still
yeah.
shooting a dinosaur.
your save game gets wiped right at the end of the game.
I guess that happened to you.
That happened to me in Tomb Raider 1, yeah.
It seems very particular.
I
we all had that
I replayed
experience,
the
come on.
entire game. No, I thought Tomb Raider 1 was like notorious for that, like save corruption. On PS1 anyway. I don't know. This is fun. What are some other ones?
Yeah.
I'm
I'm trying to
cannot
think
think
of
of any.
I'm struggling to think of any without consulting the internet.
Sure.
Like, what are some other big reboots that have happened? Like, let's just start there.
Okay. I think Need for Speed was a really good example.
Yeah.
EA kind of went in there with that.
Medal of Honor.
Medal of Honor's great.
Medal of
yeah.
Honor.
But those weren't really numbered, so how would you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be like one to come back to.
I mean, Battlefield. Yeah, Battlefield sort of did this with Battlefield 1. Like, they went back, and Call of Duty. They both went back to World War II or 1.
yeah.
But
they
we
had
know
never
they're
done
already-
one
Those are the
before.
reboots. And so basically,
Right,
they'd have
those
to,
are the
like,
reboots.
They'd
So now
have to,
they'd
like,
have
come
to-
back. Yes.
Yeah,
Would it be worth it? Would it be worth it to make Battlefield 3? Well, that'd be so weird.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say that like Call of Duty going future was the reboot, and then this is going back to World War II.
Sure.
Sorta. But they didn't do like Call of Duty 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever it would be.
Yeah. I think we're out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I get the impression we're not like disgusted by it, especially with DMC5.
I think it's a great idea.
I think it's the right call,
I think it's, like,
especially in
funny,
Devil May
too.
Cry's. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Devil May Cry 5 would sell better than a new Devil May Cry game.
For sure. I think.
Not even
Well,
DMC, but like we're going in a third new direction. It's kind of like, yeah, at a certain
Spider-Man.
point, yeah, it's like,
Well, I think it also suggests, which is what I would hope, that if a company tries a reboot and it doesn't work out, they're not like, well, this is dead forever. Just bury it in the backyard. You're like, oh, well, come, try something else.
yeah,
SSX, please.
yeah, exactly.
What if this is a weird one.
Okay.
What if Grand Theft Auto redid 4 but in the style of 1 and 2? Like top down bit like 16-bit graphics or whatever. Like,
That's such a funny idea. I mean, they did that for like Chinatown Wars.
oh, did they?
And you can play 3 top down. Like you can.
Yeah,
it's a
you
camera
can put it
angle
in the
available.
camera angle. But I mean, like, they like beef up the story or whatever, and then just do it straight up GTA 1 style.
Yeah.
That'd be so weird. Just
Yeah.
like put it out for like $10 on PSN or whatever.
I remember how badly we wanted like a Super Mario 64 too, you know?
Oh yeah.
And so like it wasn't like Mario was rebooted when new Super Mario games came out.
I feel
but,
like you
that'd
can
be so
almost
fun.
reword this question instead of getting hooked on a reboot, like omit a sequel that altered the like
Right.
trajectory of
Yes.
the series,
Right.
And
Yeah.
delete
And go
that
back
and go
before
back
that.
and imagine a
Silent Hill
a
5,
sequel to that.
baby.
So like a good one if we did that.
Sure.
So I'll go answer. Delete Final Fantasy 13. Make a proper sequel to Final Fantasy 12 in that style, like that open world, like that. Yes.
If they came out with a game and called it Final Fantasy 13, could you imagine that? They announced a game called Final Fantasy 13.
let me
I would
ba-
love
It
that.
works for
Yes.
10 too.
Time out.
Yes.
Actually,
I would love
Kyle's
that. That'd
laughing
be
because I
so
forgot an
cool.
important part.
Yeah.
I'm also redoing history here. Like delete
Oh,
13
yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
history.
Right.
And a different type of 13 had come out.
You got to delete 3 games, man.
Yeah.
Oh, those would never have.
So the
13 2,
alternate
13,
reality,
and
yeah.
Lightning Returns one of. Yeah, sorry, that would never require it.
No, I
In the
like the other one more.
Berenstein,
Yeah.
in the Berenstein Bears reality,
Yes.
they've got a good Final Fantasy 13.
But here we are in the
But
Stainverse.
here we are.
Probably would have got something
Stainverse.
closer to.
All right, let's do another question.
Stainverse.
I want to do. Let's rip from the headlines. Let's do this. Howdy, panel. Where do you draw the line
Wait,
between?
who submitted that last one?
That was from Aurelian.
Aurelian.
Yeah.
Nice question.
Thank you.
Howdy, panel. Where do you draw the line between poor game design and poor business practices? Ooh. I was talking with a coworker of mine today about Metal Gear Survive's $10 additional save slots. By the way, we get a lot of questions that are like, settle this argument with me and my friend. Anyway, we're going to do it. He believes that for some reason, Metal Gear Survive is a bad game. My opinion... I'm so sorry. I read that... Sorry, I read that completely wrong. All right.
I was like, I don't know if we can tackle this.
For some reason.
We don't have time for this.
It's the opposite of what I just said. Okay, I was talking to a coworker of mine today about Metal Gear Survive's $10 additional save slots. If you want an additional save slot, you got to pay $10.
Real world.
He believes that for that specific reason, Metal Gear Solid is a bad game. Just that reason alone. My opinion is that it's a bad business practice, but I consider that separate from the design of the game itself, i.e., the minute-to-minute gameplay, etc. I offered that if Knights of the Old Republic had purchasable save slots, would that mean it's a bad game? To which he responded, yes, it would be. For what... Yeah, we'll even make fun of your friends' voices. For what specific reasons does the panel consider a game bad versus either the business practices involved with that game or anything else that doesn't involve minute-to-minute gameplay? Thanks so much for taking my question. If you do, and keep being awesome, love, and respect, Anachronistic Timepiece. Jones.
Cool name.
I think when it directly gets in the way of you enjoying the game. When you're doop-de-doop-de-doo, I'm loving it. Wait. And you stop, speed bump. Wait, what?
Sure.
And like, you know, the executives come in, they're like, yeah, stop. And now you got to do that, or now you got to pay us more. And now you hold off and wait a month to play that.
Do save slots do that to you?
Not with MG, because it's like the only reason we found out about that is because we wanted to figure out how many hairstyles women characters had. And so we had to like create a new character to do that because I forgot to check when I was making one. And we're like, whoa, you can't make one. Where like, I can't think of the scenario most players will find themselves in and survive, where they're like, time to move on to a second one in this dull survival game, you know, like.
Yeah.
That's my thing is like, with save spots specifically, like a lot of other games, you just get one character, like single player games, like a narrative game, you know, you get one save and that's your character, like Dark Souls, or well, no, not Dark Souls, but like some games, you know, it's tied to your account. And like you have to sign in as a different user to have a different playthrough, you know?
Sure.
And like that's just how that game is. So it's like Metal Gear Survive might as well have just not had other character slots.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. Like I think of like Metal Gear Solid 5 didn't have like separate save slots for my character. Yeah, I guess that is a weird thing to think about. No, I guess I could start a new game and save it on a different slot. You totally
I guess you could make a new save slot.
Yeah.
But like
and still have your old one to go back to.
Right. But I mean like it's still like, you know what I mean? Like it's not a new character slot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's still that same character.
Still play the entirety of Metal Gear Survive and not like be stopped. You know, like it's just when you wanted to make a second person to start over.
Yeah.
That now you have that issue. Whereas NBA 2K, like we're talking about, 5 seconds into booting that game up, all immediately it's like, hi, you're screwed unless you give us cash right now.
The one I think is the worst about NBA 2K, the one that I can't rationalize. You know, I like try to like, why would they do that? You can't look at the haircut before you spend your currency on it.
Yeah,
wow.
that's
Lord.
not false.
Wow.
And didn't
That's
the
insanity.
latest WWE game also like
That one actually
you had to like
didn't,
buy moves or something? Or
it did, but they removed your ability to spend money on it. So it's still it's so dumb. The game design is still built around this currency, but you can't spend real life dollars on it. But it's still this annoying like rigmarole.
Need for Speed last year. That bad game.
Yeah,
bad game because of bad writing, bad acting, bad story, bad other problems. But the way the core game, the way that game is structured,
yes,
the base game is flawed because of business practices. Can't talk.
This is kind of adjacent to this. Let It Die, which I love. I think it's a fun game, great. Doesn't take itself very seriously. Free to play, important distinction, but there's a difficulty spike on floor 26 that is so bonkers that it almost like you basically kind of have to start paying money.
Yeah.
To keep going. And I think that some free to play games, I can't call up any other examples at this moment, but like take that approach where it's like, hey, we're gonna ease you in, and then there's gonna be this huge spike where it's
I would
like
say most.
They're designed that way.
Yeah, they're designed that way, and where it's like you either are going to have to commit an absurd amount of your life, or just start paying actual money.
I'll give you another one. Animal Crossing, Pocket Camp.
Oh,
there's a clear moment in Pocket Camp where you're like,
Where you're like,
I'm out of essence, sporty essence. oof, need that.
And they're like, come back tomorrow. And you're like,
done.
no,
It's
I
the
wanted
wall.
this today. Yeah.
It's the wall. Every free-to-play
Yeah.
game, every microtransaction game's got it.
The
where
wall.
You hit, oh, okay.
So why are we excusing the? So I guess we're excusing the save file because it's not obtrusive. It's not a wall. It doesn't affect how like that. And I think another reason you excuse Metal Gear Survive is that it's $40. It is less than
Right.
Also,
you can
like-
work around that.
Yeah.
Whereas it's hard to work around other things. Hard to work around at Need for Speed. You have to wait.
Yeah.
You guys a clock. You got to wait through it. It's hard to work through NBA because you only have like 4 options. And so there's like the game is clearly tantalizing you within minutes of starting the game up with other content,
Well, the weird thing too,
reminding you immediately what it is.
I've never been the kind of person that rolls multiple characters at the same time. I just don't. I don't like doing that. For me, it breaks my immersion. I want to be this person, and that's my story, and that's how it's happening, right?
Yeah.
Like, so very, very rarely do I ever, even after I've beaten it, start a new character and start over. So that's never been my experience. But I know that a lot of other people have multiple accounts. A lot of MMO players have multiple accounts, for various reasons. So, like, I could see if you're trying to, like, Destiny's a big one where people roll all 3 classes and stuff like that. I don't know if in Metal Gear Survive if you can like cross, like give each other stuff.
No reason to. No
right.
reason to.
So I don't see there's
you,
be a
you-
reason.
You look different.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah,
It's the
so, like-
only reason to make another character, or you just die. You screw up that first
So
playthrough
hard,
so bad
yeah.
because you're just missing all the signals. You don't know what resources are
But you
more
can
valuable
delete-
than others, or what activities you should.
in that case, you can
start
delete
over.
your character. Yeah. So it's just like, I don't see that as being a detriment to this game
What's weird-
specifically.
I mean, the precedent for MMOs is you do have to pay for extra characters.
right. So it's like
Not all
sometimes.
of them. But
Sometimes. Some of
it
them.
used to be pretty standard.
But I mean, to me,
It's,
it's
not
like
anymore.
I don't know about other ones. But,
now you get like 3
well,
usually.
Yeah, it's something. A lot of them give you like a fixed amount that you can make
Yeah.
Okay,
up to a
gotcha.
certain amount. If you want more, you could pay more, but I don't think they usually go that route anymore.
Final Fantasy XI was like $1 for like a new character or something. I remember.
Yeah,
I remember
it-
something.
That one charged
comedically
you.
small.
Like that one charged you. I forget what WoW did originally. Like for
I thought you had like a couple and then you could buy more later. That's how like Eve
anyway,
was, I
yeah.
think.
I want to do more examples of things though, where we just say like, oh, that's a bad game, even though it's not minute-to-minute gameplay. I have some examples.
Okay.
For me, it's like a story element. Will absolutely say like, oh, it's a bad game.
Give an example. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like a DLC or
No, so like we talked about Dragon Ball Fighters last week, where like the game in the game story, they stare at you, the player of the game, and say, "Hi, welcome to the game." Like you're in Goku's body right now. That's a bad game.
But that has nothing to do with paying money.
No. We're talking about the second part of the question is like, are there other things that you just discredit?
Oh.
You'll just say a game's a bad game.
Oh,
okay,
things
sorry.
that
Yeah,
Oh.
that have nothing to do with minute-to-minute gameplay. Like, I know Dragon Ball FighterZ gameplay is great, but I don't want to play it anymore because Goku looks at me and says, like, hey, you're in my body now.
For me things like where control is taken away from me in an abrupt and startling way, where it's not a clear delineation to a cutscene. Like if the camera is constantly being taken, but it's still gameplay.
Yeah.
I hate that.
And you would point this like, that's a bad game. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
That kind of stuff really drives me up the wall.
If you don't make great strides to assist me in falling in love with at least one character in RPG in the first hour, I'm out.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
not.
Nothing to do with minute-to-minute gameplay, but you're like, that's a
the
bad
combat
game.
system
Yeah.
could be the greatest thing I've ever played, but like if I don't care about these people, I'm not putting 40 hours into their journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, pacing is hard too in RPGs a lot of the time. And I mean,
Which
like,
is again just one.
Make me
person.
care about one character. Yeah, I know.
right.
So
Combat
yeah.
systems are good too. Like, if a bad combat system, whoo boy, sorry, Witcher.
Well, that's minute-to-minute gameplay.
Yeah, oh,
That's like right in the middle of the question. But yeah,
That's true, yeah.
I think we kind of hit on something at the end
I
there.
just pissed a bunch of people off for no reason.
Where your friend's like not wrong. If your friend says like, nah, Metal Gear Survive's a bad game because you got to pay for slots, it's like whatever. That's that person's opinion.
Yeah. Opinions are beautiful things because other people can have them and they don't have any impact on your life at all.
Yes,
Let them.
Jones,
I can
Elaborate.
sprinkle a little salt on it.
Put some
I
salt
just
on
think
that.
because I'm not saying how they feel because I don't know. I'm just saying what it sounds like to me. Some of those opinions that it's like instantly you apply that to any game and it's bad. And I think that you could throw any kind of design flaw that you found in some game that like might not hurt another game as much. I don't think it deserves to be just kind of tossed out over the entire industry. Be like, if this happens, sorry, you know, like even that, like even me saying if I don't care about characters, like if it's funny, like I play a lot of Conquer and like I didn't really care about anybody in Conquer's Bad Fur Day, but like it was funny, you know,
Yeah.
so like that kept me going. So not an RPG, bad example, but
I I mean,
just
I
think-
would, yeah.
I just, just be open ended, I guess.
I would definitely say
my
that
hope.
your friend's opinion seems a bit extreme if applied across the board. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, again, that's their opinion. They can think that. Whatever.
For example, a lot of people. I just saw a lot of sentiment on social media about Metal Gear Survive being done by Konami hard out. Sorry.
Right.
And it's like, that game could be great. You don't know. It's not, but it could, Which is a lot of people being like,
Yeah.
no, done. And it's like, well, what do you do if you're Konami? Like, I get, 5 people within this company of thousands were really, really mean to Kojima. Where all these other people probably saw what was happening. We're like, that sucks. And then, then Konami went to them and we're like, hey, this IP, do something with it. And they're like, all right, maybe zombies. Like, oh, interesting idea, and then just didn't work out because they could,
Konami,
they trusted
though,
too
was
much
like-
on the platform. They were like, oh, they already did all the hard work of making this engine and making the gameplay and the animations and everything. Like, we just got to figure out the zombie component, and they just missed some marks, but
Yeah.
just
Jones-
immediately discrediting it because of a company behind it.
The thing that hit me the
blaming
hardest-
a majority of the company for the actions of a few.
Yeah, the thing that hit me the hardest there was Kojima left with some of his crew to go create Kojima Productions, on his own as an independent studio. But there's still a huge team of people who worked on Metal Gear Solid 5 still at Konami. They still made that game, and I did feel bad for them. But yeah, there are plenty of reasons not to like Metal Gear Survive.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me, the thing with Metal Gear Survive is who had high expectations for Metal Gear Survive, or who would now be surprised that there's weird, crappy microtransactions in it? There were weird, crappy microtransactions in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yes.
If you're surprised by this, you are unaware of what this game probably was and what the company making it would probably do. So it's I imagine with Metal Gear Survive, a rational person's expectations should have been low enough that pretty much anything this game did wouldn't surprise you.
The fact that it pushed its story as hard as it did legit surprised
yeah.
me, man. I was
sure.
I was like, oh, what an easy thing to do is just not put a story in it.
yeah.
It's just like, all right, add zombies, done. Get our
I
paycheck.
mean, that's surprising, but I mean, the quality of the game,
right.
not surprising.
Right.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be mad at Metal Gear Survive for not being great.
I would say the $10 save slots is the last thing to be mad about.
Yeah, because it's just that's telling you that it's raining in Seattle.
I should say though,
It's sure, okay.
I saw an Angry Joe video that was discovering that you have $10 save slots in Metal Gear Survive, and it had 850,000 views. It's man, Angry Joe, I don't know if I could watch this whole video, dude. But yeah, I mean,
clearly
people feel that way. People clearly feel that that's too much for a save slot. That there is something sketchy there.
Just the wording, putting the headline, any kind of monetary value assigned to unlocking a save slot.
Right.
Something.
Because it's not a save slot, it's another character,
Yeah.
which is still stupid.
Yeah,
But it's
still
not
too
a
much for what that
save
is.
slot.
It's too much for what that is. I meant.
Your main playthrough, you have a save and you're saving. You're not. You don't. They don't. It's not an arcade machine.
Yeah. People think they see the save slot spots you get one $10 for this road, $10 for
Right,
a 3, $10 for
right.
a 4.
That's not
that's
what it
that's coming to people's heads, and if that was what it was, it's that would be horrible, and that's what everyone fears. But I haven't followed this too much, so I just saw the headlines oh yeah, well that happened. I would pay Nintendo $10 to have the ability to make another save slot on my Switch, so I could back up my saves. I would do that.
No, Damiani, do not say that,
Some companies
please.
can just do that to make you so insane. It's hey, you worried about your saves?
But I mean,
saves?
you pay Sony for the
Cloud.
right
For the
to
cloud,
cloud save. You're already doing that.
Yeah. Well, it's cheaper.
I would pay. Yeah, just bring the cloud part of the service right now. Switch for saves. I would do that.
I think that's gonna be part of the online service.
Oh yeah, totally.
freaking better
totally
be.
is.
Cool. Man, we only did 2. Well, we were talking. That's good. Time for bets. Next week's bets about Scribblenauts Showdown, which will be released on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Switch on Tuesday, March 6th. I'm going to look at the top 10 most recent reviews on OpenCritic. How many times will I read the word fun? As a bonus, I will exclude any instances of fun preceded by the word not or any of its contractions earlier in that sentence. We discussed these rules. We all understand these rules.
So isn't, wouldn't.
Yes. But even if it's not, if it's
Don't?
used in a positive,
Don't expect to have fun.
yeah.
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 That's do not.
Yeah. That would be excluded. It shouldn't be this fun, even though that's positive. I'm afraid I still have to exclude it.
Okay.
And then as Damiani said, it's fun, and then parentheses, no, it's not, would actually be counted because not appears after. Fun. Yes. If that happens in anybody's review.
It's basically your standard Kyle rules for something.
Jones?
1.
Great. Ian?
3.
Michael Damiani.
Well, I also bet 1.
And I bet 2.
Yeah.
Took the whole upper echelon with 3.
I know. I think you're in a good spot with that.
I'm in a great spot.
Time to talk about last week's bet. We bet about Moss, which is a PSVR game that came out today, February 27th. What will the file size be? Jones, you bet 4.5 gigs. Blood bet 6 gigs. Ben bet 12.4 gigs.
Oh, everyone's going higher than
It's VR though.
Oh,
After I said 4 gigs, I was like, oh, it's VR.
It's VR.
I bet 7.2 gigs. The actual amount of gigabytes is 6.35. That's a win for Bloodworth.
Feels bad.
I got close.
Yeah, okay. That's not.
That's,
pretty
good.
good.
That's a win for us, though.
Yeah, that's a win for you. That's a
That's
win for
right.
you personally. You get all the stuff.
I do?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Yep. So that total
Yes,
score:
Ian. You
Red
did it.
Grouse 4, Gorgeous Gorillas 2, Droopy Eagle 2. Let's talk about Patreon for a second, because that is how Easy Allies exists. Not just this podcast, this entire group of people who make more videos about video games and other things. Dungeons & Dragons, anime we recorded today. So yeah, we do lots of videos about everything. We do lots of live streams. So if you're into Twitch, if you're into YouTube, check out Easy Allies. And I should say that if you are a $5 patron of the Easy Allies, you get this podcast 2 days early, and you are privy to the weekly post in which I cull together your love and respect questions, and also now your submissions to And For That Reason, which we will get better at. It's going to be a smooth segment. Damiani's gonna, because Damiani, it's about the tension, and for that reason, I'm out. That's how it's supposed to be delivered, you know? You won't do it. Okay.
You won't do it.
We're going to get good at that. Yeah.
He's going to be like, and because of that.
Get out of my face.
Get out of my face.
Yes. So patreon.com/easyallies is worth checking out, seeing
Thought process.
what kind of incentives we can deliver to you. Damiani, what was your favorite part of the podcast this week?
My favorite part was Brandon thinking Chrono Trigger is legitimately on Super Nintendo Classic.
Okay,
Sure.
we should give background to that. Okay, so we set up for.
I don't know if we should.
Okay, you're right. We won't. Let's not call it Damiani.
But that was so good. That, like,
Your plausible
the
deniability
meme
for
has been
Damiani.
fulfilled.
Damiani, I believed. I believed for some reason
You
the European.
believed for so long.
Yes.
Now it is the next level of the goal is for it to end up on Wikipedia.
The European version had all of these
Damiani's
games.
Yeah, the
European
European version of Damiani's SNES Classic.
Ninja Turtles was on it, man.
Ninja Turtles was on it.
Ian, what was your favorite part of the podcast?
Besides that, there are a lot of great parts. We had some laughs. I really think that basketball game is a great idea.
Sure.
Yeah.
I really loved that idea. So I'll say that.
Brandon Jones, your favorite part of the podcast?
Damiani refusing to play by your rules. Refusing.
Oh, you
I don't
like
know
that?
If it was refusing so much as I was. So I think the funny thing was I did read the concept behind it, so I knew what the game was we were playing. I just didn't know like the how he wanted us to present it.
Oh, yeah.
So I had no idea about
It's
that.
very particular.
So I was
Yes.
like, huh. Okay, I'm in. You're like, Damiani, what's wrong? I was like, whoosh, I didn't know that part.
That's your impression of me?
That's what you sound like.
No, that's
That's what you sound like.
that is my general impression of generic humanity.
All right.
Yeah.
That is not an impression of Kyle
Which
Bossman.
just happens to line up exactly with the way your voice sounds.
I think my favorite part of the podcast is when we turned it around and started having a really fun time talking about Monster Hunter World and its success. You know, because we dealt with a lot of bad video game news, and then we
Yeah. So good.
we really turned. We really shifted off of that.
Such a good game.
ESRB. So yeah, good podcast. Ian Hink,
Hey.
you've won the right and responsibility to share your Twitter handle with the world. You get to promote any Easy Allies video you would like to promote. You get the final word on anything you've disagreed with, you want to reiterate, or simply just thought of right in this moment. And you get to sign off with your trademark sign off.
Okay. Ian Hink, at Ian Hink, Hinck, Twitter. I haven't done this in a while, okay? No
I don't
no one
know.
who sits in my spot ever wins.
I know, this is weird.
Yeah, things are getting freaky. Video plug. I would say Easy Update's 100th episode. I'm pretty proud of how that came out. It ended up being kind of like a philosophical, like, kind of exercise. I don't know. Give that a look if you haven't. I'm really proud of that one. Thing I disagreed with. I didn't really disagree with anything, I don't think.
Just final word. You don't have to disagree.
I'm sorry I said that thing about The Witcher. That was a needless call out to its bad combat, and I'm sure I upset someone. I just prefer Bloodborne, you know? I'm sorry. Don't be mad at me, please. Good night and good game.
I am enjoying these microtransactions.
The Easy Allies would like to thank our Patreon podcast producers. We apologize in advance for all the ally names we are about to misspell and mispronounce. Brent Klaus, Ebb Software, L. Thanis, Hogue Law, I. Keyless, Jojo Dentco, Mango, Sweet Justice, James Thomas, Greg Kettering, Max Taker 34 Liebig, MC Griffin, Nate Killick, KG2 Entertainment, Nick, Walker Hope, Sam G, Will Schmuck, Linear System of Equations, Michael Kozachenko, Gabriel Heilborn, Professor Metal Gear, Bradley Spees, Zachary Wingate, Jan Tyson, Ken Lair, Beaten Down Brian, Silent Consonant, Andrew Reif, Sigma, Dan Sebring, Tim O'Keefe, Nick Owens, Robert Stoffel, Wobess, Caleb Aranda, Corey Jackson, Richard Smuts, Jake Musser, Anti-Ataraxia, Richard G. Flowers, Yo Butts, Michael Bisegli, Caden Geist, Demos Clay, Chum Nguyen, Dave Red, Knowledge God, Thomas Wigginton Jr., Neil Bruce, Jared Reif, Matthew Pauling, Gino Elite, Carl Williams, Jason A. Sackle, Candy Coated Thorns, 44 Stars, G. Levin, Charles Anthony Iapicino, G. Ken, Hitman 47, Ryan Anderson, Jean-Philippe Legacy, Colt Doss, Paul Molson, Cody Harden, Jay Shee, Marcel Giroux 17 Froelich, Phoenix Doss, Lee Young, Andrew Kidd, Thomas Gonzalez, Peter Davis, Hudson Bilbrey, Rack, Brad Lohman, Simon Anderson, Malfalax, Ian Santa Anna, Mylene LaPearl Vanass, Tim Strothman, Caleb Crawford, DRD 7 of 14, Blue Suitor, Todd Yurkovic, Joe Burns, Patrick Chong, Marco Flores, Sergio Ruben Hernandez Gallegos, Stephen Last, Ahmad Naki, Jesse Vitelli, The Banana Forklift Killer, Oh Yes Cool Great, Joachim Morovuo, Gustav Strombaum, Kelvin Hartanto, Marcel Markov, Mark J. Betters II, Nefertiti Jenkins, David Wen, Oni Black Mage, Luke Arnold, Matthew Holcomb, Daryl Schramm, Brent Phillips, Leaf Johnson, Eduardo Ortiz, Catherine Lay, Gary James, John Santoro, Robert Crouch, Mikhail Agnell, Sean German Efficiency Clinton, Ulf himself, Matthew Robles, Vi Manis, V8 Dave, Nasser, Ritz 1906, Fabian Schuster, The Solar Sailor, Trenton Robeson, Tony Knox, Isun Chor, Forrest, Caleb Ledoux, Mike Hook 1, Bry Guy, Quick Scares, Alexander Schiller, The Classiest Hobo, Captain Fancy Pants, Jonathan Schofield, Adam Penny, Zinterax, Modrin, Paul Bishop, Travis Miosi, Trey Whetstone, Adam Damon, Sean Mackey, Yasser Al-Husseini, Leroy Anderson, Jonas Andreas Sibison, Reed Johnson, Manuel Thomas, Peter Wen, Luke Bennett, Adam Scherenbrock, Not Jack, Kurzes Stavrogowski, Kevin McMaster, Allison Burt, Anna Lancaster, Bjornar Haraldsvik, Sean De Almeida, Saturn, Ace Jackson 777, Jacob Whittington, Charlie, Wouter DeHaze, Michael Favacci, Matthew Holmes, Eric Maynard, Fabian Winkler, Cartridge Brothers, Bernardo Del Castillo, Leon Keys, Mugen Hamura, Raymond Lee, Yasser Kerbushi, Clay Roberts, Shauna Metz, Todd Paxton, Faraz Rizvi, Dakota Hayes, Zoostick, Don Turner, Mumble Mumbleton, Masuki 211, Kyle Bradford, Jesse Fish, Shino Bazu, Jason Joint, Edison S. Prada Jr., Alexander Breveglieri, Travis Ing, Ahmad Al-Rashed, Tuttle, Furious Action Gamer, Stuart Siddall, Joseph Caruso, Michael Schreiber, G-Sith, Haley Hill, Matt Gunther, Evan Eng, Joshua Vanswall, Eric Gustafson, Refill, Sebastian Trier, Samsa Stormbomb, Bonnie and Jason Connor, Alex AI, Jeffrey Daniel Lasley, Stephen Walther, Rock Gordon, Mac, Carlos Zuniga, Diggles, Ryan Cohen, Adam Mulaney, Link666 Goron, Simon Gauthier, Momo Rashid, M. Legend, Bread Roll Art, Akira Sendo, Colin Reinert, Calgareth, Eddie Reisner, Chase Caldwell, Halkin Stirs and Stirs, Barry, Mikey Mizek Novak, Adam Henry, Beautiful Kai, Mac Jam, Sean Rao, Ronnie Halperin, Caffeine Rage, David Kennedy, Durgesh Patel, Kenneth Procius, Mike Calvi, Sarah, Ricardo Abarca, Philip Stadler, Gary Fair, Anthony Daniel Galvin, Benny Samuelson, Trolls Rasmussen, Daniel Wong, Jameson Anderson, Vincent Foliat, Hutchitron, Ahab, Neobear, Sebastian Olsen, Sven Von Brand, Tetra Ninja, Alex Glass, Junio Motomura, Mither Strongbeard, Nycrypt, Mons Anderson, Elvin Skogheim, Jay Aldiar, Morgan Worth, Sam Sorensen, Matt Ferguson, Michael Tennick, William Heaney, Krister Lundmark, Tim Mann, Chris the Pianist, Michelle Nubb, Sandra and Richard Acero, Battleox, David Tran, MC Griffin, Mick Malloy, Yo Butts, Adam Barker, Philip Klarskov Jensen, Sun Pham, Alex Monaco, Arthur Henrique Chinaglia, Cody Westley, Nuno Amaral, Galen Moxley Haggart, Twisted Heart, David Boyarski, Rajiv Maharaj, Toasty Soul, Sean McGing, Pete Cerny, Joachim Wiederberg, Christopher Santis, Sam Handrick, Christian Hundorf, Andreas Koter, Extravaganza, Gali Gutierrez, Addison Muir, The Fatty Show, Jason Shields, Rickster EXE, Julio Ruiz, Lars Berger, Monica, Lorenzo, Remy Loisel, Jordan Kirk, Pete Shoemaker, Repus Edud, Irvin De La Torre, Cyberboa, Christoph Fatui, Azazel Valkyrie, GW Fox, Outcast Rider, Chris Bennett, Liam Ahern, Helping Leon, Jean-Sebastian B, Crediar, Self-Confessed Cynic, V. Cura Ray, Tristan Howard, Jeremiah Snowden, Materia Addict, Robert I, Blaster Master, Miguel Rivas, Alex Lavanier, Malcolm Moschette, Adam Cal, Joel Olson, Rez, Robert Ori Einerson, Christopher Donnelly, Matt Karwoski, Jesper Lawson, Joel Short, Marco Hernandez, Magnus Rasmussen, Clinton Hayes, Seyun Kim, Andrew Amos, Struggler, Tense George, Bunny Chen, Joey and Kate, Wavering Radiant, Raymond Chow, Ian Anderson, Danpan16, C.S. Lewis, Orugachino, Jana, Roy Sung, Marius Smith, Kim Monk Vonderleith Hagensen Petersen, Colin Hoylman, Reed Marlett, Ali Khan Sunger, Shanley Ladia, Dale A. Brule, Kyle, Rerun, Arkham Fantasy, Luis Ibarra, Dale Sun, Philip Higdon, James Brown, Jan Ivar Carlson, Spencer Stevens, Supernova Smith, Elliot Moscow, Daniel Fuchs, Ivan Ponce, Jay Potter, Christopher A. Butler, Ian Bradburn, John Prey, Sean Essen, Sebastian K. Urban, Marco Zanone, Alec Church, Culinary Stud.